Hello everyone. So I have a confession to make. A lot of the videos that I make on this channel, I have used AI to help me write. I ghostwrite with a machine. And today I want to do two things. Number one, defend that completely. And number two, teach you the specific business English vocabulary and grammar that will turn you from someone who just uses AI to someone who will lead with it. Because here's the truth. In 2026, the professionals winning right now aren't the ones who avoid AI. They are the ones who can talk about that they did it and they used AI clearly and confidently in English that shows they were in charge the whole time. Alright, let's dive into it. Before you go through our four big frameworks, let's build your grammar foundation first, because everything today runs on one specific structure. I used or prompted or designed or structured to achieve, to ensure, to avoid the result. This is called the Infinitive of Purpose. It's the grammar of leadership. It answers this very specific question. Why did you make that decision? Which is exactly what your manager, your client, or even your stakeholder is asking all the time. So notice how different this sounds. The AI wrote it versus I prompted the AI to surface the key themes, then I validated them against our clinical guidelines. Same outcome, completely different professional image. The second version, that's you leading. So here's the problem number one. You did something smart. You used AI to draft a report, build a content plan, summarize the research, and then someone asked, who made this? And you froze. The fix is simple. Own the intent. You didn't outsource your thinking. You directed a tool. That's massive difference, and your English needs to show that. So it's called intent framework and the phrases that you can use. I prompted the AI to generate a first draft in order to focus my editing time on strategy. Second, I designed the workflow to reduce manual data entry and to ensure consistency across the team outputs. Number three, I used this tool to surface patterns in the feedback data, then applied my domain expertise to interpret them. And last one, the AI handled the synthesis. I was responsible for the strategic framing and the final recommendations. So, whether you are in a career pivot trying to show a new industry you're adaptable, or you're leading a global team and need to explain your process to a senior stakeholder, this language positions you as the decision maker. The AI was your tool and you were the architect. Problem 2. Someone pushes back on your output. Why didn't the AI include, for example, A? Or why does this take so long? And you don't have the vocabulary to explain the why behind your decision. This is where business English gets very technical and where most non-native speakers go quiet. Let's fix that. So it's called the constraints vocabulary. Parameters, the specific rules or limits you set for a task or tool. Bottleneck, a point in a process that shows everything else down. Trade-off, a situation where gaining one thing means accepting less of another. Scope, the defined boundaries of a project or task. Guardrail, a rule you set to prevent errors or unwanted results. And iterate, to repeat and refine a process in cycles. Maybe pause this slide. Look through this once again, but I need to go on. So, defending the constraints, use these phrases. I set these parameters to keep the output within our regulatory scope. The bottleneck here is the data quality, so I structured the prompts to flag inconsistencies automatically. There's the trade-off between speed and accuracy. I chose to prioritize accuracy to ensure compliance. And the last one, I built in these guardrails to prevent the model from generating recommendations outside our evidence base. So this is the English that earns trust in meetings. when you can name a trade-off calmly, explain a bottleneck clearly, defend the parameter with purpose, people stop questioning the process and start trusting your judgment. Problem 3, and this one's a big one. Don't worry, if AI can produce the output, what's the point of your experience? Very big question. So here's the answer. AI produces information. You produce judgment. And that's the value add narrative, is how you make that visible in English. For example, the data showed value X. Based on my experience with a specific content, interpreted this to mean Y, and that's why I recommended Z. That's the structure. Data to interpretation to recommendation is where your expertise lives. AI can give you the first output and the first part. Only you can give the second and the third and keep on going based on your judgment and your recommendations. So, value add narrative phrases that you can use. The AI surfaced this pattern. I applied my clinical background to determine whether it was clinically significant. This data is a starting point. My role was to contextualize it within our specific market conditions. Third, I leveraged the AI synthesis to save time on research so that I could invest that time in stakeholder analysis. Last one, what the tool can't do is weigh up the organizational politics here, and that's where my judgment comes in. So whether you're pivoting careers and need to show transferable expertise, or you are a team lead defending your department's AI-assisted process to executives, this narrative keeps you at the center, not the tool. You. Last one, and honestly, this might be the most important for everyday communication. The AI integrated workplace isn't just about what you can produce, it's about how you talk about it with your team. Global teams, especially where English is the working language but not everyone's first language, need a shared vocabulary that's clear, non-threatening, and collaborative. So, here's the toolkit. Co-create, to build something together with a person or a tool. Augment, to add to or enhance something that already exists. Human in the loop, very important. A process where a person reviews and approves AI output. Oversight, the act of supervising and taking responsibility for a process. Flag, to identify and highlight something for attention. Sign off, to give final approval for something. Maybe pause for a moment, look at it again. I'm gonna move on. And the phrases that you can use. I would like to co-create this with you. I will use AI to draft the structure, and I would love your input on the tone. Second one, we're keeping a human in the loop, where here nothing goes to the client until one of us signs off. Number 3, I'm using AI to augment my research, not replace my analysis. The recommendations are still mine. Third, my oversight role is to validate the outputs and flag anything that doesn't align with our values. So, these phrases signal something important to your colleagues. You are not cutting them out. You are being transparent. That builds trust, and the trust is still 100% human. So, here's my full defense of ghostwriting and of using AI in your work. Wrapped up in one paragraph you can actually steal and can definitely use. So, I used AI to streamline the drafting process in order to free up my time for strategic thinking. I set clear parameters to ensure the outputs aligned with our goals, and I applied my domain expertise to validate and interpret the result. The tool augmented my work. I was responsible for the judgment, the oversight, and the final sign-off. That's not a confession. That's a leadership statement. And now you have the vocabulary, the grammar structure, and the frameworks to say it in any meeting, in any language, with any stakeholder. Save this script, practice these phrases out loud, and next time someone asks, "Did you write this yourself?" answer with complete confidence. Alright, till then, next time I will see you.